Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, gaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. This is live stream number 1161. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Normally, we'll hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then I will share, at least recently, a first look at a game or a game book. Tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be sharing a live edition of the Paizo Preview for March 2025. In fact, everything we're going to take a look at tonight arrived in stores today. So if you are interested, you can zip on over to your friendly local game store and pick these up. So that's what we're going to be doing on tonight's show. We are not going to be discussing the tabletop gaming news this evening, simply because we're probably going to be investing a good amount of time into the first looks at these 6 new items. So there is that. Wanted to let you know that right away. But still, super casual, as I said. We are not engaged in something along the lines of rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, and you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 minutes before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you check those boxes and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, fire away. We'll do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Sean O'Donnell, followed by the Madman. Yes, one of our chat moderators, the Motor City Madman. No, not that other jerk off. We're talking the real Madman. The one who's given something to this country, not that other dipshit. Anyway. Well, Lotus Cave is with us. Keithulu's here. Semper Buffo's popping on in. Gleamone RX. W Forge, Kathy Evans. That rounds out who we've got in chat at the moment. And I will take a guess that the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D might be floating around in the shadows. Another of our chat moderators. So welcome aboard, everybody. We are going to get into the Paizo Preview in just a couple of moments. But did want to let you know, the Gaming Gang March Madness continues. In fact, it is officially the Gaming Gang 2025 March Tabletop Role-Playing Game Madness. We are now in round 2. There were some upsets in the first round. Interesting. And there are some dogfights to be seen in this second round. So if you have voted in the first round, be sure to get your votes in the second round. If you are unfamiliar with the elimination tournament, started off at 64 entries. Now we're down to 32. And you can find the links in the post section of the channel. You can also go over to the gaminggang.com. You can find there's a image there. Click on that. It'll take you to the page. You could actually vote right there on the page. It's a little tricky to get into the second round. You have to click on the next dot. And there are 2 divisions. So be sure to vote in both of those divisions. We got some interesting matchups for certain. Jose Fernandez and Pete Strakulich are chiming on in. And yes, Sarah D is with us tonight. Good to see you. All righty then. So once again, get those votes in. And it's funny because Troll Lord Games already tweeted about it. So I got a feeling that Castles and Crusades is probably going to move on to the next round. Possibly. Who knows? We'll see if some other publishers out there rally their voters. We shall find out. All right. As I mentioned, we are skipping the tabletop gaming news tonight, and we are going to dive on in for a live edition of the Paizo Preview, which I normally shoot as a separate video and upload it. But I thought, hey, you know what? Let's do something a little bit different tonight. The madman says, wow, wasn't expecting that welcome. As Kevin R. Smith is bounding on into chat as well. Chat's off and running already tonight. Very cool. Right, first off, we are going to take a look at the Pathfinder Flip-Mat Rivers multi-pack. That's right. It is available now. As I mentioned, if you're tuning in, if you're just hitting the stream, all of these items we're taking a look at tonight in the Paizo Preview for March 2025 are in stores as of today. So that Rivers multi-pack carries an MSRP of $29.99. If you want to grab it in PDF, you can do so for $9.99. Let's get the shrink wrap off. And this has two flip mats in the package. So let's see what we have got here. So, of course, these are 3x3. So 3 panels by 3 panels. This is our first of the rivers. We've got some bridges here. Looks like we've got some elevation as well. Taking a peek on through at this. And then on the other side, looks as if we have got, maybe this is a mill. That's what it kind of looks like. It's got a water wheel there. Got the river flowing on past. I don't know if these are, I think that's supposed to be grain piled up. Possibly. Cool. All right. So that's the first one. I think we've got a frozen river. That is what this is here. So we got a bit of an ice flow on this river here. All right. And then the other side looks as if we've got a small building. So we've got a fairly large size bridge. And then we've got a small building here. See, if the building was closer to the bridge, I'd say it's a tollway, but that I don't believe is the case. All right, so once again, these are the 2 flip mats that we find in the Rivers multi-pack. Next, we're going to take a peek at the Starfinder Flip-Mat, Alien Ruins. We have 1 flip mat in this. I'm looking forward to the Galaxy Guide, which is going to be popping on out. We're going to see, it said summer. I think it's June or July, to be honest with you. So, funny enough, it is actually going to release before the Starfinder 2nd Edition rulebook, which is, of course, premiering at Gen Con this year. And let's see. somebody just, oh, there we go. Jose Fernandez just said they checked those brackets in the tourney. They said those are some upsets. Yes. Dungeons & Dragons 2024 got upset, but I actually saw that coming. With my audience, I knew that was going to be the case. Wallona's Cave with $1.99 super chat. You're very welcome. Wallona's Cave said, thank you for being such a consistent creator. I try. I aim to please, unless people are jerks to me, and then I don't aim to please. All right, so here we've got the Alien Ruins. And something I always mention when I take a peek at any of the various different flip mats, flip tiles, both from Paizo Inc. and other companies, especially if they're treated like this, is you can use various different markers. So you can use wet and dry erase, even permanent marker, as long as you've got a wet or dry erase marker to write over it. It'll take that off. Also, if you play any sort of skirmish level miniatures, so if you're playing science fiction or fantasy, even if you're playing, say, you know, like a Warhammer miniatures game, these make for excellent mats to play on. All right, so that was like the planet surface. This looks like this might be, no, maybe this is another planet surface. It's kind of cool. We've got the entrance to this building here, which is part of the ruins. Nice. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like that. Jose Fernandez says they've got the Galaxy Guide on pre-order. Says the release was the end of April. That is a possibility. I will say, like, for an example, stuff we're looking at right now, these hit stores today, March 5th. If you went onto the Paizo Inc. website, they were indicating March 5th. If you go take a look at their release schedule, it showed February. It shows February for all of these. It's sort of like, okay. Right, so that is the Alien Ruins flip mat for Starfinder. Next up, this box is big and it is heavy. We're going to dig on in and take a peek at some of the cards within, because it is the Monster Core battle cards for the second edition remaster. Let's get the shrink off of this. Monsters at your fingertips. Keep the fearsome fantasy foes of Pathfinder Monster Core close at hand with Monster Core battle cards. This box of over 500 cards presents a new and exciting way for your monsters to leap into action at the table. Each card features a beautiful full-color image of a creature from Monster Core on one side, while the other side provides that creature's statistics for quick and easy reference. For each encounter, show your players what monsters they're facing while keeping the monster's abilities at the ready, and watch your games come alive. This carries an MSRP of $79.99. If you want to grab just the PDF, you can grab it for $19.99. Ooh, nice jumbo kind of tarot card size here. So one of the things that I always kind of have a little bit of an issue with the various different decks of cards that Paizo Inc. produces, there's never any great way to store these. You know, you would think that maybe they would come up with a bigger box and then you would have some cards which would be dividers. Just even if you just had them divided alphabetically, I think that would be kind of cool. All right, so like I said, we've got over 500 of these. Holy jamoli. Look at all of this. And of course, we are certainly not going to be looking at all of these cards. I'm just taking all these decks out. Yikes. Well. So I think we'll take a peek at this one here. And all right, gang, chime in. Which other one should we take a look at? So we're going to take a look at the dragon. Looks like that might be a gold dragon. Which one? Which one should we do? Should we do this spiky dude? That looks like some sort of an automation there. A nature. I was going to say this could be like a druid. All right, so Walona's Cave says druid. Anybody else? Anybody else? Shadow Down says the Fae. I would assume that's the Fae here too. Weird frog thing. Mark Hawkswell is with us. I'll tell you what then. We'll take a peek at the 3. We'll do that. We got time. Okay. The old handy dandy hobby knife out. It was funny because I was thinking, oh, if these are just regular size cards, should I swap out lenses? This was, of course, before the show started. And I thought, no, I'm sure we'll be able to see. So we got these big old cards. So this is a adult Imperial Dragon. So we're going to get all of the stat blocks here that we need. And it's also continued on another card. That wasn't it. So this might be the second. Oh, no, I think this is the first of the 2. So as an example here, this gets 2 cards like so. So this is an adult diabolic dragon. And we were talking a little bit about Starfinder 2nd Edition. I'm thinking I might actually take on the reviews for that when it comes out. That I'll keep Sammy still doing the Pathfinder reviews. She does the written reviews for the vast majority of Pathfinder releases. But I think I'm going to jump in because it's a perfect jumping on point as far as Starfinder goes, because we'll have the new Galaxy Guide. We'll have the core rule book. I think that first month, August has like a hardcover adventure, if I remember correctly. So just taking a peek here. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Very nice artwork. Dero Magister. One thing you aren't seeing is any kind of lore. It's all just stat block. So we get some of the keywords here. So it's uncommon, small, humanoid, Dero. We get its perception. It's also got dark vision, what languages it speaks, its skills, as well as its bonuses. With those, we get the modifiers for its attributes, different items, armor class, fortitude, reflex, and willpower saves, hit points, immunities. It's immune to being confused. Wish I was immune to that as well. It's vulnerable to sunlight. And then we get into speed, and then it's various different actions that it can take. There we've got that. Nice. All right. But like I said, as far as sorting these can get out of whack really easily as far as the various different decks of cards, like the spell cards and such. So like I said, I'm kind of surprised that we have not seen Paizo Inc. put together some sort of box, even if it was a box you'd buy separately with some dividers and such. All right, So this is the Dryad Nymph. So it can tree meld for 2 action points. A 1 with plant spell cast by a Dryad has an unlimited duration. In addition, if the Dryad merges with her bonded tree, she can choose to instead enter an extra dimensional living space within the tree and can bring up to 2 adjacent willing creatures with her. The spell gains the extra dimensional trait. The Dryad can still be expelled from this space. Sean O'Donnell's asking, is there numbering anywhere? Yes, down here in this little black circle. So this is card 391 right here. And then I'm guessing this 392. Oh, no, this is 390. So these are in reverse order. That's funny. So this is 390. This is 391 for the Nekalavi. Ooh. Pretty creepy. Pretty creepy looking there. That's kind of cool. This is the Noxious Needler. Cool. Let's take a look at some more of the artwork here. That should be a nightmare. Yes, it's a greater nightmare. Lesser nightmare? Oh, no, just a nightmare. There you go. This is a Naga, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. It's a Naga. I was expecting more humanoid face on that. Here we've got the Medusa. I was going to say the snakes for hair is kind of subtle here. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Pete Zrakowicz says, I always appreciate decks at the table. Who doesn't love to draw a random Imperial Dragon? All right, so Giant Mantis. Well, at least we know it's a mantis. Yeah, there we go, Giant Mantis. What kind of Leshy is this? Is it a gourd Leshy? Oh my gosh, I got it right. Well. And remember, I'm not necessarily the big Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster expert because Sammy does the reviews. I normally will do the first looks. From time to time, I'll actually take on an adventure path. So it looks like the various different Leshies. This is a Lamia. Yep. Lamia Matriarch. Nice. Okay. So that is this deck here. And then the weird frog thing, as requested. All right, come on. I like these cards. I like these quite a bit. So, of course, as a game master, have an idea of, usually you'll have an idea how long your session should run. I always kind of plan for a little more than we typically get, taken care of, what we tackle in a session. So this is a Slurk. It's got belly grease. The Slurk extrudes a slippery grease from its ventral glands to coat the floor under it and in a 5-foot emanation, turning the affected area into uneven ground for 10 minutes, after which it dries to a putrid crust. Ooh. Nothing like pizza with a putrid crust. It's yummy. All right, so that is the Slurk. So anyway, as I started to say, what you would do is you would just simply go and pull out the cards of the various different creatures that you would be expecting that the players are going to run across. and then have those at hand and then just bust out these cards. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. That is a skeletal champion. Could that be a shark? It's a megalodon. Oh, I couldn't tell the size. Sweet. Flipping on through some of these. Oh, it's Swamp Thing or Man Thing. No, it is the Sargassum Heap. Has mirage spores. The Sargassum Heap constantly produces a field of hallucinogenic spores that causes those affected to see the monster as whatever they desire most. Each creature within the emanation must succeed a DC 22 will save, become fascinated with the Sargassum Heap, and compelled to move toward it on the creature's turn. Creatures fascinated this way are also off guard. If the Sargassum Heap attacks, the fascinated condition ends only for the creature that is attacked. On a successful save, a creature is temporarily immune to mirage spores for 24 hours. Now, one thing that I would say with these cards you don't see, because, of course, with Pathfinder, we really don't have the alignments anymore. It may not necessarily be obvious what sort of attitude this would have towards the player characters. I would take a guess that this is how it feeds, is by tricking creatures to come close to it and then it attacks them. So I don't think it necessarily makes it evil, just pain in the ass, right? All right. So, like I said, we've got over 500 of these cards. So, to my knowledge, every entry in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster Monster Core is in this box. And once again, this will carry an MSRP of $79. Next up on the Paizo Preview is the NPC Core for Pathfinder. We've already done a dive into this last week, so I am not going to devote a ton of time taking a peek at the NPC Core. I know we had some discussion about the pricing on this, because this has an MSRP of $69.99. If I remember correctly, I think it's 240 pages. Yeah, and that's actually including the glossary and the ad on the back. So I know the discussion we had in chat, bit pricey. Populate your world. Devotees of the gods, cunning mercenaries, fun-loving performers such as I, crafty engineers, devious villains, once again, such as I, and more all have roles in your game with Pathfinder NPC Core. Containing over 250 stat blocks for NPCs, you can drop all kinds of characters into your game, from merchants and farmers to masters of magic and martial arts. The NPCs are crafted to be fun and easy to use, with sets of adjustments to quickly change their ancestry, level, and more. You'll also find a trove of NPCs specific to non-human ancestries, like a dwarf general, goblin git gang, and kobold egg guardian. Each section of NPCs is themed and includes lore, custom rules, as well as random tables to spice up your gameplay. Never find yourself making up statistics on the fly again. You can find everything you need in a Pathfinder NPC Core. Taking a peek inside. I did like the artwork throughout this when we were taking a look. So we'll get into our NPC gallery. And then we get into our ancestry NPCs. So we've got artisans, courtiers, criminals, devotees, the downtrodden, engineers, explorers, healers, laborers, martial artists, mavericks. So which one is it? Which maverick would it be? Is it James Garner or Mel Gibson or both? That was actually a pretty decent movie. That was back when Mel Gibson wasn't insane. So we also have mercenaries, military, mystics, officials, performers, primalists, scholars, seafarers, and villains. So just taking a quick peek through at some of these. Once again, if you want a deeper dive into this book, by all means, check out last week's episode of the Dispatch where we jumped on in. And I mean, we didn't look at each and every page. We never look at each and every page, which publishers would not like if we shared each and every page. But we did take a fairly decent dive into this. The Puppeteer. But at least here we're getting some information about each of these various different NPCs, as opposed to like we had on the Monster Core battle cards where it was just, okay, it's only stat block. So now we're not necessarily getting tons of lore and background information, but we are getting some. So here we've got the laws of the sea, shipboard animals, nautical superstitions. When a ship's fate can be decided by a sudden stilling of the winds or an unexpected violent storm, sailors tend to develop superstitions to help them successfully complete a voyage. Many of these superstitions vary from region to region, but some of the more common ones are found below. Never use phrases like good luck, drowned, or goodbye. No whistling on board. Never kill certain creatures such as albatrosses or dolphins. Never change the name of a vessel without protective rights. Never set sail on certain days of the week. Okay, what days? Don't leave us hanging. Tengu absorb bad luck into themselves to create good luck. An omen thrice shown must be heeded. And if we're going to use historical superstitions, no women on board. That was a big one. That was a major superstition. All right, so here we got some villains. The Interrogator, the Flesh Warper, the Hero Hunter, the World Ender. And of course, we've got little side box areas. Then we get into our ancestry NPCs. This is where we start getting into the various different species. So we've got catfolk, dwarves, elves, gnomes, goblins, halflings, hobgoblins, Cholo. I'm not familiar with that. I wonder what that is. Find out in a minute. We've got kobolds, leshy, lizard folk, orcs, rat folk, tengu, tripkey. And then we end up with an appendix. I think there's more than one. So I think it's appendices that we've got back there. Here we go. There's the Kaholo. They are, looks sort of like a hyena. It's kind of vibe I'm getting there. These pragmatic hunters have earned a very poor reputation for their brutality in battle and worship of demons. While many Kaholo live up to the terrible stories of their ferocity and cannibalism, others are scavengers and trappers trying to get by. Many of their cultural traditions are misunderstood by other ancestries, and some Kolos play into the fear provoked in those who believe the twisted tales about their people. Kolos are often criticized for their lack of honor in battle, but understands honor doesn't bring you back home alive, nor does honor put food on the table. Ambushes, feints, and deceptions that lead to fewer critical deaths and a quicker victory are simply the logical thing to do. And then it talks about more stats for them appearing in the monster core. Chris Lundgren is with us tonight in chat. Good to see you. So Kevin R. Smith points out that these are the new gnolls. Thank you, sir, because I was actually thinking, okay, so how are these different than gnolls? And then I told you, I'm not the Pathfinder expert. That's Sammy. That's Sammy Uhas for the Gaming Gang. She's the one who does all the reviews. In fact, she's already got her review of the Adventure Path finale that came out today. I just have not posted it yet. In fact, I haven't read it yet because I didn't want it to color my first look during this preview here. We've got the lizard folk, the Tengu, animal companions, the trained bat, the veteran warhorse, sample organizations, relationships and advancement, bonded, committed, associated, acquainted, avoided, despised, vindictive. Here's our ability glossary. The Root Leshy Groundskeeper. And then I think these are by level. Yep, NPCs by level, glossary and index, and that will wrap up the look inside the NPC Core. So I do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. And if you got time, by all means, make sure that you appease the YouTube algorithm gods and leave a comment. Now, of course, this is about the point where I start talking about drive-through RPG, even though there aren't a lot of Pathfinder 2nd Edition Paizo Inc. releases on drive-through RPG. There are a few, not a ton. But don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, drive-through RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. I should also mention the GM's Week sale is currently going on. Actually, I think they call it the GM Days sale, but then it runs for like 10 days. So you can save up to 40% on tens of thousands of role-playing game releases. So take advantage of that while you can. And if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's cold. And in March, a couple of our friends of the show have stopped on by and made not small donations. Yes, I am talking about Joshua Edwards and the Madman. Big thanks to them, but thanks to any of you who use those banner ads for drive-through RPG and the other One Bookshelf sites, as well as swinging on by paypal.me/thegaminggang. All right, we are going to get back to the Paizo preview for March 2025 in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
After 40 days of this, Noah, I bet you wish we'd brought some Wilkins coffee instead of those silly elephants.
It was at the dawn of the Age of Reason that first appeared the beast upon the county of Gévaudan. Possessed with enormous strength, it would strike without warning and disappear without a trace. When all hope seemed lost, the king sent 2 men determined to unravel the mystery. What they uncovered was a world of deception and a struggle for power that was far more dangerous than anything they could have imagined. Universal Pictures and Studio Canal proudly present to American audiences the French motion picture sensation Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yes, Brotherhood of the Wolf. I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I own it. Maybe I should watch it this weekend. So if you've never seen it, it is a French movie. It is French language. I don't recommend watching it dubbed. Stick to the subtitles. That's how I watch any foreign film or show or whatever. I always do subtitles. But it's a really interesting movie because you're watching it and you're thinking, oh yeah, it's this is a horror movie. Yeah, this is obviously a horror movie. And you're like, okay, now it's like a martial arts movie. And you're like, okay. No, now they're kind of getting into a lot of the history of things. So, and as W. Forge has pointed out, it's actually based on a true story of some creature that terrorized the French countryside. So yes, yeah, it's an interesting movie. It's definitely one that I think some people will dislike. There's a good amount of nudity in it, so if that's going to bother you. But somebody had told me about it years and years and years ago. I think probably about 2002. They said, hey, did you see this movie? It just came out not too long ago. I'm like, huh? But I checked it out. I was like, holy shit, this is pretty good. I was like, whoa, all right. Yes, and as Sarah D pointed out, Wilkins wasn't even mean to Wilkins. Life at sea must be causing madness. Life at sea with all those animals. W4 says, yeah, when the martial arts came in, they were sold. Dark Autumn Scribe is with us in chat. Welcome. All right, so let's get back into the Paizo preview for March 2025. Next up, we're going to take a peek at Pathfinder Lost Omens Rival Academies, which actually carries an MSRP of $44.99. You can get the PDF for $29.99. Chris Leonard points out that The Boat is another movie that they've only ever watched in subtitles. That is an awesome movie. I highly recommend getting your hands on the original miniseries, because that's how it was originally shot. It was shot as a miniseries, and then it was trimmed down to make a film, even though the film is pretty long. If you watch the film, it's about 3 hours, although there's like a director's cut and stuff like that. But the actual miniseries clocks in a little over, if I remember correctly, 4 hours. It is phenomenal. It is excellent. So Kevin Smith says, Das Boot, the movie no English speaker can pronounce. Sure, I can. It's the boat. That's all it is. Alrighty. So let's take a peek at the back here. School is in session. Journey to the edge of demon-ravaged lands to learn ancient magical secrets, fae philosophies, bleeding edge theories on reanimating flesh, and the lore of academies from across the world and beyond. See the universities from the eyes of their students and meet dozens of luminaries with their own agendas, research, and visions for these recovering lands. Whether players build bonds with classmates, clash with rivals, or spend their time far from the event, they'll have character options to represent their school's teachings, from spycraft and wizardry to martial arts and the rites of forgotten gods. So, of course, the Lost Omens series of books tends to be very heavy into lore and not as heavy into like game stats and stat blocks and things like that. So welcome to the convocation. So this is going to get us, I think there's a dozen as far as the various different academies and such. So we've got the Academy of the Reclamation, Kobe Slarney, Kithardian Academy, the Magambia, Monastery of the Unbreaking Waves, University of Lipidstad. So that is that. I guess it's not a dozen. It is 6. Well, that's half a dozen. So we're getting some information about the various lands. And different NPCs. So Ghost Rider, respected mentor, working student. And then we get into the Academy of the Reclamation. Hello and welcome. I'm Telva Wren, a semi-graduated 5th year at the Academy of the Reclamation. And wow, there are a lot of you, which is good, of course. I mean, look at all you're bringing with you. The books, the furniture, the large number of awkwardly shaped musical instruments and metal coils. Not that we don't love those. We do. Of course we do. And honestly, we're grateful. So much of what you've brought is going to stay here at the Academy as we grow our numbers, put down real roots here in Neurosian, and help restore the Sarkoris Scar. It's just that it's a bit more hustle and bustle than we're used to. Right, so it looks like this is going to be, a lot of this information is going to be presented as if it's from various different individuals, I'm going to guess. So Sean O'Donnell says it's nice to have alternatives to Magambia, or however that's spelled. So as Sean O'Donnell had asked, the affiliation with the One Bookshelf sites, does it include Pathfinder Infinite? As far as I understand, it does. The only thing that I'm a little up in the air on sometimes is the Roll20 stuff. I don't always know that if you use our, affiliate code, that if we get credited for that, I can't tell you for sure. But Kevin R. Smith said, yeah, there's, if you jump through the right hoops, really no hoops involved. It's just go to thegaminggang.com, click on one of her banner ads and then knock yourself out from there. I mean, it's not making people do a bunch of stuff. All right, so this is the Cathardian Academy. So yes, it looks as if the information being provided is very conversational. It's like we've got performance items. It's kind of interesting. So we've got some gear, but it's all looks like it's for basically acting in that, but it was like to show like fake violence, like blood squib packs and stuff. So here we've got the Migambia. How does this fit with Strength of Thousands? Yes, the Adventure Path, which I seem to recall Sammy really liked that Adventure Path. And wasn't it a 6-parter? That was back when we used to see the 6-part Adventure Paths. For some reason, I think it was one of the last of the 6-part Adventure Paths there. W Forge asks, how does Paizo put out so much product every month? Freelancers. Freelancers. In fact, you know what? Let's real quick take a peek at the credits here. So all these names here are contributing authors to a 124-page book. So that is a lot of contributors. So that is how they crank out that much content. To my knowledge, and it's not as if I'm like in the know with Paizo Inc., but as far as I understand, they're usually a good 6 months to a year ahead of they've already got plans for stuff that's going to be coming out in the summer of 2026. Just haven't announced any of that. Sharon Down says, you see Ron Lundeen show up a lot too. Yes, you do. So here's the Monastery of the Unbreaking Waves. So we get information about the academy itself, the teachings, their rivalries, which I don't think their rivalries are necessarily going to be with these other academies. We have the Dance of Perfection. So it looks like this is a school of maybe martial arts. And then we got the major NPCs. Yeah, so here we go. So this is monk feats. Nice. That's pretty cool. And once again, Sammy will be doing the review of this book. So as I had pointed out, I'm doing the review for the NPC Core. She will be doing the review for Rival Academies. And as I had mentioned, the final thing we're going to actually look at tonight is going to be the finale of the Spore War Adventure Path, which she's already sent me the review. I have not cracked it open yet. So I will probably have that review up on thegaminggang.com tomorrow or Friday. Usually I like to roll some Sammy reviews out there on Fridays, because Fridays I tend to take a bit of a break from doing stuff for the website and videos and that. But I always like to have something up on the website every day. So, so there's some discussion about Stephen Chenault being a big UFO buff over at Troll Lord Games. That is a recent development. I think it's like in the last year or so is where he's really gotten into it. But yes, when I chatted with him at Gamehole Con, I did my interview, but we also were talking a lot about that off, the record. So I thought that was pretty wild. All right, so we're going to wrap up. It looked like we had a section here talking about some magic, some rune magic, and then running the convocation. Says, the convocation presented in this book is an excellent showcase of many schools in the world of Golarion. It is also designed to serve as an adventure setting or an event that characters can visit, experience, and play within. If you're planning to use the convocation as a major element in your game, it can launch a variety of different campaigns, depending on the themes your group wishes to explore, as well as your PC's interests and connections. I'm curious if we will have an adventure path that's going to be tied into this. So, Pete Straklich asks, is Troll Lord Games in Arizona? No, actually, Troll Lord Games is in, is it South Carolina? I think they're down in South Carolina. Yeah, Troll Lord Games is actually in Roswell. Chris Leonard says, at times, they feel Paizo suffering from too much product bloat like D&D 3.5 did back in the day. Well, I'm not going to argue that that's not the case, but the way I look at it is I would prefer a game company to have too much stuff come out and you can pick and choose what you want as opposed to sitting there going months and months wondering, hey, do you guys even make games anymore? For some publishers. So I will say that. As far as like the adventure paths, I think it's nice that game masters and players have at least one new adventure for Pathfinder, a new adventure chapter that comes out. We are seeing more and more contained adventures, which are hardcovers. In fact, I'm pretty sure there is not only the beginning of the new adventure path next month, there is also a self-contained hardcover adventure, which is coming out. So, Sean O'Donnell says they aren't. They have so many quality adventures without adding unnecessary character options. Agile Monk is popping on in. All right, so we're going to take a look at the finale of the Spore War adventure path, A Voice in the Blight. This is the third chapter in the three-part series. This carries an MSRP of $29.99. You can grab the PDF for $19.99. Do want to warn you, even though we're just flipping through this and I don't know anything about this adventure chapter, if you are a player and your game master is currently running this or planning to, I would recommend tune out because there's going to be some spoilers. Pete Straklich says, Snowflake, Arizona is famous for the Travis Walton case. It's actually quite amazing. Their books are printed in Little Rock. It's Little Rock, Arkansas, not Little Rock, Arizona. So, yeah, for some reason, I could be absolutely wrong. I know they're down south. I know they are like southeast. That's why I thought they're in South Carolina. But because they'll drive up into the Midwest for conventions and stuff. But as far as Arizona, I've never heard anybody from Troll Lord Games talk about Arizona. Alrighty. So let's take a look at the back here. The Last Stand. Tree Racer's plans have been disrupted by heroes, and the fiendish war against the elves isn't going as swiftly as the demon hoped, which makes him all the more dangerous. As Tree Racer prepares a potentially devastating surprise attack to crush the elves, though, a mysterious voice beckons from beyond with offers of aid. But has this offer of aid come too late? The Spore War Adventure Path concludes with a voice in the Blight, a complete adventure for, get ready for it, 18th to 20th level characters. Well, well, well. All right. So let's dive on into this. Once again, we'll take a moment here for the credits page. So this is written by Rigby Bendel with James Jacobs. My apologies if I've mispronounced Rigby's name. Got our artists and so forth. So we've got some small maps to open up with and to finish up with. So those are some various different encounter locations. So this is going to be broken up into 3 chapters. I will just kind of touch on what's going on in each of the chapters. We'll also have information if you want to go beyond the campaign, and heroic artifacts and the adventure toolbox. So Pete Straklich is discussing Mr. Combe, or Kolb, I guess I should say, and his various game books like Oz, Wonderland, Never, isn't it Peter Pan? Isn't it Neverland? Isn't that, there's 3 of them, right? And I think someone last night was talking about how they're doing Narnia next. So very nice, very nice. All right, so infiltrations. 2 significant infiltrations take place in this adventure. One into a prison located in the planar realm of the Void, and one into the Witch Bowl. Yeah, Witch Bowl. Both locations are too enormous to fully detail in the scope of the single adventure, so instead, the infiltration rules are used and only key encounter areas within each site are detailed. Rules for infiltrations appear on pages 196 to 199 of Pathfinder GM Core, so you should make sure you and your players are familiar with them before running this adventure. We get our advancement track here, and this is designed for 4 characters. A return to memory. Not all elves abandoned Golarion on the eve of Earthfall. Some chose to remain behind, weathering the impending apocalypse for varied reasons. A sense of responsibility to keep faith in life's survival, idle curiosity, or even fatalistic acceptance. In the case of the Archmage Althean, there was a combination of stubborn pride and a conviction that at some time in the future, his people would return to Golarion. If he remained behind with a small group of volunteers, he could keep the hearth going for their homecoming. So this is basically giving us some background about Tree Razor, who is our big bad. And I think as far as Pathfinder 2nd edition adventure paths go, I think this is the first time they've taken like a major demon from the Pantheon and utilized it as a major focus of an adventure path. So it looks like this is the infiltration of the prison in the Void. Flip it on through here. That's kind of cool. Cryptid Morigna. Then we've got Chapter 2, The Siege of Yadara. This adventure assumes that Queen Talandia knew of the PC's plans to infiltrate the prison. And she's eager to hear news of their attempt. If the player characters lack the means to swiftly travel to Iadara, she'll help them if needed by casting teleport to reach them and return. Once the PCs arrive at Iadara, give them time to rest and recover from their infiltration. Soon thereafter, I should say, Queen Talandia invites them to give a report in the city palace. She greets them on a sprawling balcony that gives a commanding view of the city below. Normally what we see in quite a lot of the Adventure Path chapters is the middle portion of that chapter tends to have a lot of little things going on, small encounters. They tend to be a little bit of, I don't want to say downtime, because there's more going on than that. But normally it's kind of a recuperation for the group in the second part of these adventure paths. I think it's kind of interesting how they sort of stick to the same sort of flow a little bit. There you go, chapter 3. Here's our finale, Tree Razor's Truths. When Tree Razor's spore spawn is defeated, the powerful magic within the Witch Bowl, already made unstable by its teleportation with the Spore Queen's incomplete magic and the player character's additional tampering, suddenly implodes. At the instant the Witch Bowl begins to collapse catastrophically on itself, time for the PCs and Tree Razor comes to a halt as they are all hurled into a vast mindscape formed from the convergence of their powerful legacies and the Witch Bowl's collapse. The mindscape is called Hollerhawk and is composed of fragments plucked from both Tree Razor's and the player character's memories. Well. So they can only escape back to Golarion when certain conditions are met. So there's an empty sanctum. I wonder if I am curious if the player characters would have to kind of team up with Tree Razor to escape. It's a possibility. I don't know. Actually, it seems like this chapter is kind of short. Well, it's pretty short there. We're already at the conclusion. Then we got Beyond the Campaign. So if you wanted to continue the adventuring, although your player characters will be at 20th level, Tessie Trekkie is popping on into chat. Good to see you. Got Heroic Legacies. So these are artifacts. Yep, heroic artifacts. And of course, we'll end up with a little bit of a bestiary in our adventure toolbox. So here we've got new spells, new items, and then we get into our bestiary entries. And I will take a guess that our big bad is going to be stat blocks for Tree Razor. That is my guess. Okay, there's the Python. No, it's not. He must have been in a previous chapter. I don't recall if we saw that in the first or second chapters. All right. So there you go. And then next month, we have Thirst for Blood. This is a brand new adventure path. A remote island settlement is thrown into chaos as a strange magical effect veils the region in shadow. Urged to investigate, the player characters visit the source of the effect and discover the ruins of an Aslanti prison thriving with cults of blood drinkers. Well. All right. So that is a peek at A Voice in the Blight, the finale of the Spore War Adventure Path for Pathfinder. Once again, this carries an MSRP of $29.99, or you can grab the PDF for $19.99. All right, that wraps up the special live edition of the Paizo Preview for March 2025. I hope you enjoyed something a little bit different than the usual here on the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Don't get used to it, though. So, all right. Tomorrow, we are going to dive on in and take a peek at Warhammer 40K Wrath and Glory Vow of Absolution from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games. So that is what is on the agenda for tomorrow night. Dan Webb is popping on into chat, or at least is saying goodnight in chat. As Kevin R. Smith says hello and goodnight. Anyway, so be sure to tune in for that. We will have tabletop gaming news on tomorrow's show. So stay tuned for that as well. If you are watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, bigger thank you. Because not only were you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I'm flipping on through stuff. So it is much appreciated. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,100 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Yowza. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. I'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Dungeons & Dragons 2024 Monster Manual from Wizards of the Coast. Also should remind you, if you have not voted in the Gaming Gang 2025 March Tabletop Role-Playing Game Madness, the second round has started. It runs through the 10th, or I should say the next round will kick off on the 10th. So you've got a little more than 4 days, really. So by all means, check that out because we've got some pretty interesting matchups. And you tuned in a little bit late. Some heavy hitters went down. Some heavy hitters went down already. All righty, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that tremendously. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I'll be back tomorrow. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.